Welcome back to my channel. I'm Yasmine. This is Vlogmas Day 2. I am sitting at my desk with my blanket because I work from home and I don't want to heat the whole house just while I'm sitting at my desk. So the blanket has been in a lot of use this week. A lot of my colleagues have got heated blankets. Mine isn't, but I've got slippers on as well, so I'm fine. This channel is all about money, positive mindset, careers, and anything to do with that kind of stuff. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then please do hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Or do I? This month during Vlogmas, for every single person who subscribes, I am going to put £1 into my £100,000 savings challenge. I'm trying to save £100,000 between now and towards the end of 2023 in order to do some renovations on my property so that my children have a bedroom each. I don't currently earn that much money and I have just given up my job. So if you want to see how I go about that, I don't know what the answer is yet. I'm just like one of those people that has really big goals and then I find it fun to try and get to them. If I don't meet that target, I'm still going to be really pleased with any progress that I make. So that is me in a nutshell. Today, I wanted to do a bit of a sit down video for you. I haven't been out. I haven't done anything very interesting. So there's no vlog part to this video, but I wanted to take you through sinking funds, how I use them, the different kind of terminologies and stuff for anyone who hasn't used them before, and basically just showing you how I set mine up. So it might give you some food for thought for how you want to use yours. Sinking funds is one of the biggest questions that I get. People ask me how frequently I put into them, how did I decide which ones to have. So I'm hoping to answer kind of all of your questions in this video. I'm going to get my binders out and take you through the actual sinking funds themselves, as in the wallets, and talk to you a little bit about each of them, how frequently I put money in, and what the goal is for them. I've also got a couple of pages in my planner which sort of helps you to plan your sinking funds. So I'll show you those at the same time as well, because there's some columns in my planner that are perfect for getting you to really think about how much and how frequently you need to put money into your sinking funds. So first of all, essentially, what are sinking funds? Sinking funds are a way of saving money to account for things that you know or you are guessing will likely happen. It's a category or a specific amount of money that you put to one side every month, week, or whenever you can, depending on the priority of that sinking fund. Sinking funds can have different purposes, but you kind of have an idea about what you would want to spend that money on. So a really good example of a sinking fund would be car maintenance. If you drive and you have a car, you'll have an idea of whether or not you might need some money over the course of a year to pay for the upkeep of that car. I, for example, use a car maintenance to cover the insurance, any repairs, MOT that we need to get in the UK, road tax, and I don't save that much money for if something goes wrong because my car is relatively new. Other people, however, have a sinking fund for the car insurance, a separate sinking fund for if something goes wrong with their car maintenance, a separate sinking fund for car tax. So there, as you can see, there's lots of different ways of doing it and it is really down to what suits you. Some people are overwhelmed by large quantities of sinking funds and some people prefer them to be really specific. I'm somewhere in between. Another good example of a sinking fund would be gifts. So I have an occasions envelope, which is my equivalent to gifts. I call it occasions because I have found that sometimes I am spending money on a bottle of wine to take to somebody's house, which to me isn't really a gift, but it's an occasion. So I stuff that envelope with money as and when I can, and that covers me for lots of different types of gifting. Also, I have 2 small children. They get invited to children's parties a lot. I also take the money from that envelope to pay for any gifts that I will buy for the children whose party it is that my children are attending. So you can see that one's quite flexible. There's quite a few different things that I would consider using the money in my gifts envelope for. One thing I really want to stress is that with everything that I say on my channel, this is really personal to you. Absolutely take inspiration from what you see here and what you see on other budgeting channels. But remember not to compare. You've got to do what's right for you. My priorities will be completely different to somebody who doesn't have children, has less money or more money than me. It really, really depends on what works for you personally. Okay, so I'm going to take you through some of my sinking funds now. Okay, so this is the sample copy of my planner, but I will leave a link below if anybody is interested in purchasing one. I'm getting the delivery of them on Tuesday, so it's Friday today, so it's not long, and I'm so excited to send them out to people. So I just wanted to show you really quickly in here. This is something I recommend for everyone. Obviously, you can do it in the planner, but you can also do it on a piece of paper. Some of the things that I think about when I'm planning ahead for my sinking funds is, first of all, looking at my monthly expenses, knowing what those are, just to have an idea. And it might be that when you do this, you notice that some of these monthly expenses could be cheaper if you paid for them yearly, and sinking funds might be a way of doing that. So for example, lots of people pay for their car insurance on a monthly basis. However, in order to do that, there is an interest applied. So if you were able to set a sinking fund up now for next year's car insurance, so that when you get your quotes, you could pay for the whole amount in one go, I think that you may well save some money. Then we can look at yearly expenses and just have a think about, so I've got here number, which is how many times do you either pay them, or how many months have you got left until you need to pay them. You can use that in however way you want to divide it up. The second thing I have in my planner that's available is this sinking funds planner. So once you've got an idea of what your expenses are going to be, you can then decide what you want your sinking funds to be. Again, like I said before, you might want to group things up. So for example, car insurance, you may want a sinking fund specifically for that, or you might want to do a car maintenance that covers the car insurance and any other car associated costs, in which case you just need to work out what your overall goal would be. And then depending on whether you get paid monthly or weekly, or whether you handle your money monthly or weekly, because you can be paid monthly but still split that money between the 4 weeks, or however you want to do it, you can then work out the minimum amount that you need to be putting in, maximum amount that you want to be putting in. So again, this is around, you might not be consistently paying in exactly the same amount every single month, depending on the priority. My rule is that if it is for a bill, like my water bill or my car maintenance, I make that a priority, and I kind of see that as the money I put into my sinking fund is it's a non-negotiable. But then some sinking funds, like gifts, for example, if I don't have the funds, I can skip months or put less in. So I just sort of think about a maximum and a minimum of what I would want to be putting on a weekly or a monthly basis. I then also have this sinking fund tracker. So everything in my planner is completely undated, so you can use your own dates. But I have my sinking funds listed here, what the total is for that particular month, and then I will list how much I've been able to put into them, and then what the total will be. So this for me is really just about building up that kind of the little wins. It's really great every month when I'm able to put 20, 30, 40 pounds into one of my sinking funds. Just being able to reflect and remind myself that I'm making that progress here, and think about 2 years ago when every time a bill came, it was a surprise and a shock. Obviously I knew it was coming, but I was always like, where am I going to get this money from? This is just a constant reminder of why I'm doing this and why I'm on this journey. So that's it for sinking funds in terms of my planner. On a weekly and monthly basis, I'll then also track what I'm putting into my sinking funds. But I'll take you through my sinking fund envelopes now, just to give you an idea. So what for me isn't a sinking fund, first of all, my everyday expenses, I do not consider those a sinking fund. So these are things that I know I need to spend quite frequently. I get a really good idea of what I'm spending on them. I have a little bit of flexibility, but I'm generally always going to need these things. So I've got food in there, petrol, personal, spending and social, travel, miscellaneous, and that's it. And then I've got a back-to-bank folder in there. So these things for me, I don't consider these sinking funds, although I personally do save for them and use the money in the same way, i.e. these envelopes here that are from Budget with Ira. So it's the same kind of thing, same principle. For me, I do a mixture of online and cash sinking funds, but these are my cash expenses, so they're not considered sinking funds. However, actually, while I'm here, I did last summer, before the summer holidays, I actually was trying to save extra money for petrol. So I was treating petrol like a sinking fund. Whenever I had spare money, I was putting it in there and letting it roll over, so that when the summer holidays started, I think I had about 70 or 80 pounds extra in my petrol fund. I didn't create a different envelope or move it to my sinking fund folder or anything like that. I just sort of mentally prepared and was aware that this was also a sinking fund for that short space of time. So then we have this. So this is what I call my spending sinking funds. I'm actually thinking I'm going to have to spend a little bit of time thinking about exactly what is where, because I think I might have a little bit of a reorganization, but I'll talk you through that as well. So these are things that I do not spend frequently, and I like to build up the money in them, but they don't always have specific targets, and I don't have to pay into them every month. So days out is one. So obviously on a day-to-day basis, I have spending money in my expenses wallet, but this is kind of to build up a bit of cash so that I could maybe book some tickets or plan something in advance for a day out, usually with the children this refers to. Clothing has nothing in it at the moment, but that would be a sinking fund that I would put in because I know at some point my children will need some clothes, and as will I at some point. So that is why I have a sinking fund for clothing. Occasions, as I mentioned before, that is for parties, birthdays. A friend of mine went into hospital and we surprised her with some flowers and cleaned her house for her after. I took the money from there because it's essentially like a gift to me. It isn't just sort of strictly birthdays, and I top that up as and when I can. Home decor is one for me also. That one is not being used at the moment, but I did have some money in there recently. I paid for some wallpaper to be put up in my house and I saved the money for it in the home decor envelope. Again, that is something, it's quite specific. I like my envelopes to be quite specific. I don't have any plans at the moment to need to pay anyone to do any decorating, and I don't have any need for any new products like paint or wallpaper. I don't have any need for any new furnishings. So at the moment I'm not really putting any money in here, but it did serve its purpose prior when I was doing some decorating. I do put money in and out of this very frequently. I've often considered whether it should be in my cash envelope folder, but I am trying really hard to start putting a bit more money in here. I really have a dream of being able to spend or give away 10% of my income. I would really like to get to a place where I can do that. I'm hoping that does happen in 2023. But in the meantime, what I do is I put some money in here as and when I can. And then that means that when I'm asked either for like sponsorship money from my friends or even random acts of kindness and stuff when I've seen people, yeah, it's really open, and I just like money being there so that I have that option when I want to give some money to somebody or a cause. I know I can because I've got the budget. Family holiday speaks for itself. I have no holiday plans for next year, so there is nothing in here, and I'm not putting any money in here at the moment. I might go on holiday next year if my income is like exponentially higher than I'm expecting it to be, but I'm very much on a year of like buckling down, spending as little as possible and saving as much as possible. So we've had a lot of holidays this year, which I'm incredibly grateful for. So yeah, there's a little pause on that for us at the moment. And same story with solo travel. I save for those two separately because I try to go on a trip once a year on my own without my children. It's one of the few luxuries that I have as a single parent. I will try and get away when the children are with their dad at some point in the summer holidays. My birthday, so sort of similar to the other one, there are some times when I spend my birthday on my own. I don't have a partner, and so I like to find a way of treating myself. My birthday is coming up, it's this month, but I am not putting any money in there because this year I am going to be away for my birthday. I will be on holiday with Budget with Ira and Jake and my children, and I'm super excited. And I just decided that is like my ticket to go away is my birthday present to myself. I don't need anything else on top of being able to go and have a lovely week in a slightly warmer climate than where we are now. So that is empty, but next year I might save a little bit for my birthday. And then party. This again is empty and I'm not using it at the moment, but it was to just throw a party really. Again, before I was thinking of going away for Christmas, I was thinking I might have a nice New Year's Eve party because the children will be with their dad. However, I'm not in the mood, so I decided not to save for a party. So they are my kind of variable sinking funds that I quite frequently spend. Now, this is my sinking funds envelope. When I've just called it sinking funds, it's more the kind of like longer term saving ones. I just put sinking funds because when I first started this journey, that envelope was the things that I was spending and this is what I was saving, and I've introduced new envelopes as I've gone along and not bought new binders. So this is my water bill. So this is a really good example of a longer term, very fixed way of saving. So I put £40 a month in here. Now I've got 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 40, 60, 80. So I've got 280. I'm due to put another £40 in there. And it's due in in February. So that's basically a year's worth of water bill that will be saved by February. I think I might be a month off. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe I had a month when I couldn't put the money in. I should be able to catch it up. And I think my water bill is just under £400. This is Callum's birthday present. It's currently empty because his birthday is also this month. So I've taken the money out of there and put it into my bank to organise his birthday present. And I will start restuffing that from this month. This is Amber's, so she currently has £40 and her birthday is not until July next year. I save £200 per child for their birthday, and although this is one that I could be like really kind of prescriptive with and put £10 a week or whatever it is, I don't know what 200 is divided by, I think it works out to be about £5 a week, but I'm not, because my money it fluctuates. It's not going to be the end of the world if I don't put money in these on one particular month, because firstly my children could have less for their birthdays. £200 is quite a lot of money. I could just get to 100, and if I didn't have the money to go higher, then I would just be happy with that. But equally, again, because my money fluctuates, if I fall behind on these kind of envelopes, it's okay, I can catch up. Kids and school, this is one that I do regularly put money in. I'm trying to build this up so that I have much bigger amount of money in here. Anyone who's been watching a while will see that I tend to get to 50 or 60 quid and then something comes out. But this is a focus for me. I need to get this up to a few £100s because I am constantly having to do stuff with regards to school trips, things like that. And Callum will also be going to secondary school in a couple of years. So I just want to try and start to get ahead and really bulk this up in the next year. Car maintenance, I don't always do this in cash, so I have a proper car maintenance pot on my Monzo bank account, but I do have an envelope here because sometimes I sort of forget it's there because I don't use my Monzo bank account for anything other than my sinking funds. So it's here just to remind me to either put some cash in here and then pay it in, or to put some money into my cash envelope. So you might think, like, just to say for anyone who doesn't know me that well or doesn't follow my other channels, this whole like having to remind myself thing sounds a little bit stupid, but I have ADHD, so it's kind of a really helpful prompt and reminder for me. I will not remember things unless they're literally in my face. So that's why that's there. So yeah, I totally understand that might sound really weird to people. Garden, very much similar to the home decor one. I know that I'm going to need to do some work in the garden next summer, so this is something I'll start stuffing. It isn't a like major priority. We can all cope if I don't get to do those things. And Christmas is another one similar to birthdays, where I do try to put in £20 regularly as often as I can. Last year I was doing £20 a month and building it up. Actually, I got a few months into the year and decided I really wanted to just stuff it and then put it away. So some people do their sinking funds little and often, and some people snowball their sinking funds. So they will say, okay, well, my priority is water, and every time they have money to go towards their sinking funds, we'll stuff water until that's fully funded and then move on to the next one. So that is also a really good way of doing it. You just have to work out how much you need to stuff every month to be able to fill all your sinking funds, and then go one by one, because you don't want to get to a certain point in the year and not have the right one filled. So yeah, that is those sinking funds. So that was a walk through my sinking funds. I wanted to say that they have evolved over time. I have many more than when I first started, and there are a few that I don't have in there that I would like to get. So some of the things I'm thinking about getting is household, because I would quite like to split out the money that I'm spending from groceries to household. Household is a much less regular thing. I buy food almost every week, but household stuff I tend to buy in bulk. And because I do that, I don't really want a big amount of money coming out of my food bill, which is what I have been doing, all in 1 week. So I'm thinking of making a household sinking fund, and then when I need to bulk buy toilet paper or shampoos, I can then take it out of that envelope. I'm also thinking about getting weeks 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, because I personally find it really helpful to withdraw quite a lot of the cash for the month in advance, but I don't necessarily want to commit to which envelopes I'm stuffing my money into. So I have been considering whether I take out all of my sinking fund money for the month in one go, and then divide it up between the 4 or the 5 weeks that are in that month, and then just stuff them on a weekly basis. And that's because I don't want to do it all at the beginning of the month, because things might change and I might find that I'm not able to put as much money into certain sinking funds than I originally planned. I think if you do it by week, it might give me the flexibility that I need. And also just to continuously remind myself about what my goals and targets are. I find the more time I spend on my budgeting process, the better at it I am. And then, as I mentioned, I do have my car maintenance sinking fund on my bank account. I have a sinking fund for my tax because I am semi-self-employed, soon to be completely self-employed. I do put money to one side for my tax bill at the end of the year. I have another sinking fund for emergency as well, which is a big priority for me this year. And then finally, I have my savings challenges. So I have some saving challenges, which I've shown you before, which I do in cash, and then I transfer the money into my overall savings challenge, which at the moment I have one big overall goal, and that is my 100k savings challenge for saving £100,000 in a year. If you want to help me with that, if you subscribe to my channel, I have to put £1 into that savings challenge. I've got lots of you lovely people on TikTok winding me up saying you're going to unsubscribe and then subscribe again. But I am literally just counting the number from where I started at the beginning of Vlogmas, which was 4570. And then I'm checking it every day when I upload the next one as to what it's risen to. So I'm literally just doing the number of subscribers that go up from when I started Vlogmas. So I was on 4570. And as we speak, I think I'm on I don't know, I'm going to have to check. I'll put it here because I'm going to have to check. I did remember a minute ago and now I've forgotten. But I think I've gained 18 subscribers like today. So yeah, I'm going to have to put £18 in. And if it carries on like this, I don't know where I'm going to get the money from. But it's fine. I'm focusing on my savings. It's still like a positive for me to be able to put that money into my savings, and I will just cut back from wherever I can. And if it isn't a case of cutting back, then I will find a way of making some more money. Maybe I'll have to sell some stuff, but I will put £1 in for every subscriber during Vlogmas. So that is us at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was useful. Please let me know if you've got any other questions about sinking funds. I can do a bit more of a deep dive on actual terminologies of sinking funds and exactly how you calculate them, if that's something that you guys need. I hope seeing my sinking funds give you a little bit of food for thought on what you might want to implement. I know that lots of you have told me that you are doing cash stuffing for like parts of your budget, but that you haven't actually gone into the sinking fund part because that's sort of longer term and it feels like a bigger thing. So I'm really hoping this video gives you impetus to just go ahead and do it because it's worked so well for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.